Hey guys, Crack here. So, Crack's Commute Cassette Review. I'm running a little bit behind. Normally, by this time of the week, I'd hope to be putting up my third episode of the week. That is the schedule I've kind of been sticking with, but running a little behind. I hope to get at least 2 videos up today because I do have 2 tapes that I still need to do. And yeah, so most of my music collection and my friends who have donated music to me, we have pretty similar taste in music. A lot of hardcore, black metal, punk, stuff like that, heavy music. More on the rock side of things. But that's not to say I don't like other types of music, because I do. I love jazz, industrial, rap. I'm all over the place. Really, I kind of only think there's 2 different types of music. There's all these splitting hairs of genres, but to me there's really just good music and bad music, and I happen to have tapes that fall into both those categories. Luckily today's is a good one, and it's a female jazz harpist, which is pretty unique. Not a lot of people made the harp a very popular instrument in jazz, yet alone pop music at all. And we're talking about, of course, Dorothy Ashby. And she was born in 1930, Detroit native. She has since passed away in 1984, sadly. But this is her 9th studio recording called Afro Harping, and this thing is pretty phenomenal. Came out in 1968, and it is very, very ahead of its time, in my opinion. Now, when she first hit the scene, she was strictly, doing jazz music, but later in her career, she kind of went towards the R&B route. She was able to successfully bridge the gap between jazz and pop music with a harp, which is kind of amazing. As someone that doesn't really appreciate pop music, I do appreciate how big of a challenge that must have been to take such a old instrument and really make it new again and make it relevant in the pop music world. It's kind of phenomenal. But this is sort of in the middle, and what you get on here is well, personally, what I really like about it is there's no vocals. This is, all instrumental music, and majority of it is very, very good, and it's, pretty jazzy. There is some tracks that I really don't care for that are a little more upbeat, a little more poppy, and those tracks are kind of few and far between, but the good tracks definitely outweigh the bad on this thing. And I really, really enjoyed this. This is my, not my first experience with Ashby, but my first experience from a recording from this era of her career. I do prefer the earlier stuff, but this is really solid and something I probably would have looked over, just given when it came out. Like I said, this is a 1968 release. This cassette was actually a reissue from 1984, I think. Yeah, 1984 on Chess Records, owned by MCA, of course. So, Dorothy Ashby, in her career, she did some phenomenal things. Like I said, she made the harp, relevant in the pop music world, but she also worked with people like Bill Withers. She was a studio musician for Stevie Wonder, so she's definitely left a hell of an impact on the music world. And she's a very interesting person, in my opinion, and definitely somebody that doesn't get the recognition that I think she deserves. And if you're looking to get into Ashby, I think this is actually a great place to start, because it has some, really dark, moody stuff that I prefer out of her, but it's also got some really good up-tempo stuff. And like I said, there's no vocals. This is just great driving music, great music to read to, game to, whatever you need to do. So this comes highly recommended for me. I am going to give this a cop it. This should really be in anybody's collection that is interested in jazz music, especially from this era. Like, this was when things in jazz started to get a little weird. You know, in my opinion, like, Miles Davis was getting a little weird in this era, but a good weird, too. Like, I love Miles Davis from the late 60s, but this is a phenomenal release, and the good definitely outweighs the bad on this thing. So I'm going to give this definitely a cop it. And, you know, part of this show is I talk about the packaging of the release, and that's really geared more towards bands that have published things independently, you know, through punk labels or through themselves, completely DIY, which I totally admire. But, you know, I'm still going to talk about it, and there's really nothing to talk about. You just get a standard case. This is one of the old ones that actually has the MCA logo embossed into it, so that's kind of cool. But, yep, just your standard case, standard white cassette. This is yellow due to age. I mean, this thing is over 20 years old. And then you get just a standard J card, no liner notes. Again, very yellow just from age, but really, really good tape. Really happy to have this. She's good, man. She is really good. And I've said it before about some releases, but this is a gold mine for DJs. If you are interested in sampling, maybe making beats, maybe you make, you know, your own kind of ambient music, this is a gold mine for samples, or, you know, even for up-tempo, like hip-hop tracks, still a gold mine. So not only is this just great to just relax and listen to, this is also, you know, a tool to any DJ. So definitely worth a look if you're interested. Crack out.